Hi, this is Jason Perlow with ZDNet Tech Broiler, and I'm here to show you the latest Ubuntu Karmic Koala 9.10 Linux distribution that went into beta today on October the 1st, 2009. A lot of people are trying to download this right now, so I figured I'd show this to you because you can decide whether or not you want to get it. The servers are all being hit like crazy right now, and everyone's trying to get it. I managed to grab it, luckily, fairly quickly when it was announced, and I was able to get it installed and up and running in my virtual environment here in VirtualBox. What I've done here is I've actually set some performance constraints so that you can actually see what it might run like on an actual system versus virtualized. This is actually an extremely overpowered dual quad-core Opteron desktop. Well, really it's a desktop server. Got a high-definition display here. I've got some very fast hard drives, very fast memory. But what I've done is I've actually set some constraints. So now we've got 2 gigs of RAM, 2 virtual processors. So maybe it's like a Core Duo or something like that. I've got of course my VT extensions and all that kind of stuff enabled. Got 128 megabytes of video RAM. I've turned on my 3D acceleration because I had some problems in the emulation. You're going to see some bugs for sure when we boot this thing up. I haven't quite 100% tweaked this environment to the way that I like it yet, and with any time you're dealing with beta code, stuff is going to come up. So in any case, let's boot this up. I want to show you just how fast this thing really is. So here's the going up into BIOS, right, as if it was a PC. Now, I don't know if you timed that, but that was about 10 seconds tops, maybe. I did have the VirtualBox extensions installed on the system. It was about 15 seconds without the VirtualBox extensions installed, so that should give you an idea just how fast this code is. I think that's because they've actually used a new boot manager, Grub 2, and they've also added a new init system, which apparently incredibly improved the boot up time. They're using a 2.631 kernel on this system. I could, I guess, modify the kernel and do it more optimized, but it's actually running pretty quick. As you can see here, no big surprises as far as the actual design. I don't know if this is the final artwork or not. Probably not. Although I wonder what a Karmic Koala actually looks like. This is kind of an orangish color as opposed to the standard baby poop brown as other people have described it. Let's just give you an idea of what's going on here. First of all, let's add our network. I've been having some problems with this thing initializing automatically when I boot up. It's beta code. I mean, what are you going to do? We've got, of course, our applications menu, our system menu, our places. Now, if I'm lucky, my network will come up the first time, and it will browse, and you'll see the machines on my network. Okay, so you can see here. Here's a couple of my computers are on my network. I've got my NAS device here. I can browse into him. By default, the Windows networking is working, or rather, it is enabled by default. As you can see, all the various different icons here. We'll look at my music directory, and it'll show you that it's got my my MP3s, got my various directories to see how long it takes. This is actually a pretty big directory, so I've got a whole bunch of different MP3 files for my iPod, or rather for my wife's iPod, that I've started to use lately. And you can see it also automatically mounted it as a network drive, which is pretty cool. Let's take a look at the applications menu. Here's our accessories. This is not that much of a surprise. I think this disk usage analyzer came out when a few versions ago. As you can see, I've basically used almost nothing. It's a 40 gig virtual hard drive. Let's see what else we got here. We got some games, Logic. That's interesting. Armageddon is one that it's like a light cycle game. I installed that from the Software Center, which has been revamped. As you can see, all the icons have been now all prettied, and there's a search engine. You can look for stuff. It'll show you what you already have installed. It's pretty neat. A lot of cool stuff in there. What else do we have here? On graphics, we got the latest GIMP 2.6, and that's a pretty quick startup. Let's see, we've got under Internet. This is the new Empathy IM client. I'm not going to start it up because I had some issues with GChat. It was a little flaky, but it's there to replace the Pigeon Instant Messenger. Of course, you got Evolution Email Client, the latest Firefox 353. The terminal server clients you can attach to Windows systems running RDP, BitTorrent, and this new thing called Ubuntu 1, which is like a website that allows you to log in and do various different cloud-related services. I haven't played with that much yet. Let's pull up the web browser. You can see it's pretty sprightly. This is the 64-bit version of the beta. It's running a native 64-bit browser. I don't really like that they do that because that causes all sorts of issues with various plugins. They end up having to install manually the 32-bit version of the browser, especially to deal with Flash, because I don't know if they've actually built a 64-bit Flash yet. As you can see, browsing performance is really good. Here's my article from earlier in the day about how I had to put my BlackBerry to death this week, which was a very traumatic experience for me. System folder. All this stuff is pretty much the same. Administration. Got this USB startup disk creator. That's kind of neat. Help and support system. So there's got like a help browser application in here. You can look up stuff. Look up, I don't know, backup maybe. Maybe they got something about a backup application. Well, that's kind of neat. Let's see what we got here. Places. I already showed you the various subfolders. They've got a file search application here. There's the user status is over here. And you can... That's interesting. Looks like it's integrated into your instant messenger. Hibernate, shutdown, volume control here for various sounds, which I don't have enabled at the moment. But that's actually a fairly decent overview. You got word processor. Actually, that's a really fast launch for OpenOffice 3.1. So that's Ubuntu Karmic Koala. I hope you enjoy downloading it and playing with it as much as I have. I may actually start installing it on some physical hardware. Maybe give it to, once it maybe reaches one of the later beta stages, give it to some of my family members who have been considering upgrading their XP to Vista or Windows 7, and might not actually need a Windows operating system. A lot of people just do browsing. They use Facebook, instant messaging, email, webmail for that matter, and don't need a full-blown Windows operating system. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people that do need Windows for my job. I have to use Microsoft Office, but there are a lot of people that don't exactly fit that profile. They will function in a Linux environment just fine. So this is Jason Perlow from ZDNet Tech Broiler, signing off. Thanks a lot.